Hello, I'm Jacob Wayne and welcome to our Fruits of the Spirit series here from Bristol. Bristol is famous for its cultural and creative icons such as the SS Great Britain, Cabot Tower, Clifton Suspension Bridge, Bristol Cathedral, but it's also famous for its creative icons in the arts world, Banksy, the famous graffiti artist who came from Bristol. So we're going to be looking at Banksy's most famous artwork and comparing it with St. Paul's letter to the Galatians, the fruits of the Spirit, to see how we can be full of God's Holy Spirit and convey the fruit of the Spirit of love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness and self-control in our day-to-day lives, having a wonderful, colourful journey of faith. Hello and welcome to our fifth session in the Fruits of the Spirit series. Today our theme is kindness. Let's have a look at our Banksy painting for today. We see a small girl who has been graffitiing on the wall. She has written that no act of kindness, however small, is wasted. I love how this painting reminds us that even the smallest act of kindness makes a difference. And many small acts of kindness can really transform a community. So let's hear more about the theme of kindness through our Bible passage. Our Bible reading for today is from Luke chapter 10. Jesus said, "A man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho when he was attacked by robbers. They stripped him of his clothes, beat him and went away, leaving him half dead. A priest happened to be going down the same road, and when he saw the man, he passed by on the other side. So too a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, passed by on the other side. But a Samaritan, as he traveled, came where the man was, and when he saw him, he took pity. He went to him and bandaged his wounds, pouring on oil and wine. Then he put the man on his own donkey, brought him to an inn, and took care of him. Which of these three do you think was a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of the robbers?" The expert in the law replied, "The one who had mercy on him." Jesus told him, "Go and do likewise." This is a very popular story, a parable. I'm sure you've heard it. It's actually based on a real place. It's a road between Jericho and Jerusalem, and in Israel it's called the Way of Blood, nicknamed because of the amount of attacks there have been from real robbers on real people. Maybe you've heard of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., a famous activist. He traveled to this place, and as he looked at the long and winding road, he reflected on it and said, maybe the priest and the Levite thought that the man on the ground was faking it. Maybe he was a robber in disguise. Martin Luther King then says the characters would have asked themselves this question: if I stop and help this man, what will happen to me? What's going to happen to me if I step out of my comfort zone and help this person? Maybe the times when we don't help people in our workplace or in our schools, inside we're thinking, oh, what will happen to me if I do that? Just like Martin Luther King says, that's exactly what the priest and the Levite were thinking. It's interesting if we look at the passage that the man on the ground, the injured man, was a Jewish person. And three people walk past. The third person is a Samaritan. Now you might not know what that means, and it's really important that we understand. This story is actually a parable about overcoming racism. And it's very interesting that of the three people, two of them were Jewish, but they didn't help the Jewish man. The third was a Samaritan, almost an enemy of the Jews, and yet he stopped to help. He went out of his way. He paid so much money for bandages, for medical treatment, and for a home in a hospital. The summary of the story, Jesus says to his onlookers, which of these three do you think was a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of the robbers? Of course, it's the third. But the interesting thing is that that person was least likely to help. He overcame a massive racial boundary to do so, to show his act of kindness. You know, in the same way today, there might be boundaries and things that prevent us from actually helping other people. Maybe those are racial boundaries. Maybe those are demographical boundaries. Maybe it's rich or poor that we're struggling with. Maybe it's self-esteem or confidence boundaries. We don't know if we can help because we're just not sure that we've got enough confidence to do so. But our Banksy painting reminds us that no act of kindness goes unnoticed, goes unappreciated. So every act of kindness, no matter how small, is a positive thing and brings about a positive change in our communities. So let's break into discussion groups now to think about how we can be more filled with the Holy Spirit and show kindness in our lives, our families, and our wider communities. Question 1. Have a look at Banksy's graffiti, the text and the person painting the text. What do you think is the message behind this piece? Question 2. Kindness is the theme of today's session. Perhaps the opposite of kindness would be hate. Can you think of events where you've seen hate portrayed globally, nationally, or locally? Question 3. To come against hate, we need to make extra effort to be kind. How can you introduce kindness into your life and the lives of those you live alongside, your family, friends, colleagues, and community?